This is Lawrence Romanosky from the Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada. We are distributors for Spiker, Bentley, and Aston Martin. And what we have here is a Porsche trade-in. And this is a really interesting and special car. I sold it as a used car in 2005. And it's a 2001 Porsche Carrera 4 that has been modified to be a Ruf Rgt Replica. So Ruf is, of course, the famous German tourer that started making magazine covers in the 80s with their yellow bird 911s, which were clocked at over 200 miles an hour on high-speed test tracks in Europe. And I would say that Ruf is probably the premier Porsche tuning company. Very, very expensive, but the best stuff out there. And they might even be one of the only tuning companies that actually improves the car. A lot of times you can spend a lot of money on a tuner car, but you get something in the end that's heavily compromised and not very reliable. So typically what would happen is you would send your new Porsche to Ruf. They would strip it, add all the mechanical components and cosmetic components, and then double the price of the car. So and then it would have its own serial number. So this car has the Ruf body kit on it. It was bought from Wysack in Vancouver, Canada. So it was one of, or my understanding of it is that one of 100 such body kits. So this is the front air dam with the larger air openings, and we have the rear, the side skirts, the sculpted aero side skirts, and the rear wing with the cooling for the engine. So this body kit was about $12,000, and that was before the painting and installation, and it was done by Marinello in Calgary, and it's seal gray paint, and it matches perfectly, and the gaps are perfect. For the engine in the car, the previous owner did a lot of research, and he decided that what he wanted to do was a supercharged car as opposed to a turbocharged one. So Ruf makes both of those. So he did his research and came up with the VF Engineering Vortex supercharger from Evolution Motorsports. And this is this supercharger kit comes with a GT2 intercooler and very, very lovely parts, including the stainless test pipes, etc., and a Supersprint exhaust. And this installation calls for 6 psi boost, but that's only at red line. So whereas in a turbo car, a peak boost, which might be 11 or 12 psi, is produced at the peak torque RPMs, maybe 3,000. Whereas this one is like less than half of the boost, and it's a linear delivery with the revs of the car. And then Calgary, of course, is the quite high altitude. So this car has probably only ever been making about 3-4 psi a boost, and that's only at redline. So this car, when I sold it, had 40,000 kilometers on it, and it now has 90, and the car has been running with a supercharger installation for 50,000 kilometers. So it's dead reliable. The car runs perfectly. It's no drivability issues. It doesn't smoke. It doesn't use oil. And it's a very successful installation. It was done by the top tuning firm in Calgary, Tuner Works, and I mean every piece was done right. So anybody who sees this car is really quite taken with it. It's very successful interpretation of a Ruf Rgt. And so then we have the Works Brombacher 3-piece forged wheels, which suit the car perfectly. Ruf had a different wheel, but not as nice. And then he did some interior work to the car, and we've got the roof sill plates and the roof floor mats and the roof gear selector. Interior of the car is beautiful. I mean, it's as is the case with Porsches. If they're taken care of, they can rack up huge mileage and still look factory fresh. So that's the case with this car here. I mean, if you look closely, there's a tiny bit of scuffing on the leather, which we could dye out, but I didn't. I thought I'd just shoot the video of the car as it came in. And this car also just had a recent service with a new clutch and flywheel, and that came to about $7,000. So the car is ready to go. All the original parts were kept. I mean, if you wanted to, for any reason, bring it back to stock. The car was lowered with roof springs, so it lowered the car about 1.5 inches or so. If you wanted to go further with the car, this is set up as a road car, not really a track car. So it didn't have the roof anti-roll bars on it, and if you wanted to, you could put that in. And the other thing an RGT had that this car doesn't is it had different seats, GT3 seats. But you can go to the Ruf website. They have a distributorship in Texas, and you can order GT3 seats. They're about $1,800 a piece. And you could also have a Ruf steering wheel as opposed to the standard one, and change the instrument cluster if you wanted. So there's a few more things you could do if you wanted. There's a big brake kit that Ruf sells as well. These are the standard brakes. But this car wasn't set up as a track car. It maybe only has 10 or 20 laps on the track, and only 5 laps at a time. So it was never used really hard. It's still set up as a road car. It still keeps the compliance of the stock suspension, even though it's been lowered. But like I said, if you wanted, you could go a little bit further with the car and do the seats, wheels, springs, etc. So anyway, this is a terrific car. We've got the owner kept meticulous records on it, copies of the magazine articles on the car, every record, sorted by date, every part, etc., etc. A typical Porsche fanatical owner. The car probably puts out about 425 horsepower. So it would have maybe similar acceleration to the Porsche Turbo of the same year, but Ruf was a big proponent of the narrow bodies because the turbos flared out in the end. So this is has less frontal area, less drag, and higher top speed. So we're asking $50,000 for the car. The previous owner bought it from me for $80, spent another $70 on it, is into the car for about $150. And you can have it for about 1/3 of that price. So, 911 turbos are everywhere, and for this you get to show up at car clubs and tuner events and have something a little bit different. So, it's Lawrence Romanosky Distinctive Collection in Calgary, Canada, and this is an 01 Ruf RGT Replica built on an 01 C4 Porsche chassis, and I'd love to show it to you in greater depth. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.